Adillustrator here, and we're going to be reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie did not disappoint. I remember talking with my cousin and some friends, my cousin especially. He was worried that the trailer showed way too much of the movie. I only watched, I think, the first trailer and like some of the promotional material. And I felt like it actually did a good job of not sharing the whole movie. Like, you get an idea of what the movie's about, but a lot of the jokes are held back. A lot of the cameos were held back. However, for those who probably watch more of the trailers that came out subsequently, yeah, I could see for sure. You probably would have felt more spoiled. I don't do that. I just realized like there's no point, especially if it's a film I know I'm already going to see. And I was gonna go see this regardless, so there's no point in me spoiling things for myself potentially. Well, that aside, this movie did not disappoint. Safe to say it was a lot better than the last one. I still like the second Deadpool movie, but that was the weakest one out of the three. And I don't think anyone really debate that, although there were things that were strong about it. This film, just a lot better. They incorporate Deadpool and Wolverine and just the X-Men and the Fox properties into the MCU. Well, former Fox properties into the MCU. Very smoothly. It's kind of like how Spider-Man got the treatment in No Way Home. Bringing in those villains that were part of the Sony Spider-Verse and the Tobey Maguire movies. It's very much like that, but for Deadpool, Wolverine, and spoilers, other Fox properties, for example, Fantastic Four, Elektra from Daredevil. Blade was not a Fox property, but it being just something that was not included in the MCU, that gets some shine. We get some other fun stuff as well. And so that was like the highlight of the film is that. And there's also the jokes. Ryan Reynolds, he's obviously perfect as Deadpool. He's as perfect for Deadpool as Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, probably even more so. That being said, he's probably the most Deadpool-y in this movie, and it works. The humor's on point. There's a lot of humor that even pokes fun at the MCU and Disney, which is something I was a little shocked by, but I felt like it was awesome, especially the fact that this film was already doing a lot in terms of being a rated R film, it being a Deadpool movie, and it still being, associated with Disney and the MCU at large. It continuously, taking jabs at Disney. It felt like, it was just more authentic in that way. I was worried they would, feel pressured to hold back a little, and it's good to see that that was not the case. The villains were okay. I feel like Deadpool villains in general are not always the strongest, but they're entertaining for what the movie is. The fight sequences are definitely like a highlight as well as the soundtrack. So I would say like the soundtrack, the fight sequences, as well as the cameos. Those are probably the things that you're probably looking forward to the most. There's quite a few fight sequences, all with pretty good music choices. Stuff that you're going to recognize or that might get you hype. One fight sequence did have a little bit of shaky cam, but it was, it was good for what it was. But it more makes up for it with a lot of the fight sequences, especially the ones that involve Wolverine, more and Deadpool. They have a few fights between themselves, as well as fighting others. They reintroduce a lot of X-Men and former characters, and they're not just cameos, by the way. They actually are giving character arcs, and they're kind of given endings in a way, which is a pretty good send-off for Fox, the Fox properties, and also former Fox properties. And there are also just completely new characters that are introduced, specifically on the antagonistic side. And it does tie in with things in the MCU, not just off of references and cameos, but also just things that have been going on in some of the shows. If you haven't watched Loki, this could be a little confusing, even though I feel like they do a good enough job of explaining what's going on if you've been following the multiverse. By the way, besides No Way Home, this is probably the best multiverse film. I'd give it a 10. You know what? I'm going to give it a 9. There was one thing at the end, but yeah, 9.